Hello, you all. Happy Halloween weekend. Uh, Enjoying the last bit of spooky season. And This is David Martin, LMFT, psychotherapist with Illuminated Pathways, here with another video for you all. And I wanted to do a video series around betrayal trauma. Um, this has been a pretty popular subject that I've noticed on YouTube and some other social media platforms. And I wanted to do some videos around this. I've had some clients that have experienced this, and I've also experienced this in my own life uh, with work and relationships. Um, I thought it would be worthwhile to share with you all. So today, what we're going to talk about is uh, a subject near and dear to my heart because I want to help you all with this um, is betrayal trauma. And what I'm going to do today is I'm going to give you all some statistics around betrayal trauma and also talk about what betrayal trauma is, a brief overview on that, and also some ways to deal with betrayal trauma. Um, Through treatment practices. Okay. So let's jump right in with what's betrayal trauma. And also, too, if you want to leave messages down in the comments, share about your own experiences with this if you've experienced this or if this resonates with you all in regards to this. So let's understand betrayal trauma and what that is. So, definition: betrayal trauma happens when someone you depend on, that could be emotionally, physically, or institutionally, violates that trust. And that's from good old Wikipedia, right? Um, so types of betrayal trauma include partner infidelity, abuse, parental neglect, abuse by a caregiver, and this can also happen in institutional betrayal. That could mean an employer, a group of an employer ganging up on you and betraying you in that way. Also, the faith community. I've seen this happen with churches as well. Uh, and Those are just to name a few. Um, the significance behind betrayal trauma is that it's associated with more severe mental health outcomes than typical trauma. It's and again falls into that complicated trauma category, right? Um, because uh, again, speaking specifically for say, for example, a marriage or a committed relationship of which you have maybe built trust or uh, and maybe shared intimate details, trusting that person with those intimate details, and then in return, it's used against you, right? So again, that's what makes it so complicated because with that relationship, you really thought that person loved you and that person really cared about you, only to do something total opposite of what a person that said loved and cared about you would do. Okay? So that's why it makes it so complicated. So key statistics, just to name a few, I don't want to bore you all with that. In a study of romantic partner betrayal, 30 to 60% of betrayal individuals reported clinically meaningful PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, depression, or anxiety. And that comes from PubMed. In a sample of young adults abused as children by someone close, 72% experienced family betrayal, as those events predicted higher disassociation and post-traumatic stress. So disassociation, just to give you all an idea around disassociation, is whenever Uh, you dissociate, maybe you become numb, kind of check out. Uh, you become, some folks have described it as kind of floating away in your mind and not being present in the moment, almost like it's almost like have your head's detached from your body and you're up in the clouds and you're not grounded in what's going on in the present moment. There might be numbness involved with that. Uh, you may not be aware of your surroundings, um, something like that, similar things like that. Um, so this identifies some betrayal trauma and some of the symptoms that go along with that. So uh, look for patterns like this. So we got intense shock, disbelief, and disruption after trust is broken, persistent rumination about the betrayer or event. So rumination is whenever you just kind of marinate in those thoughts. You replay memories, you replay thoughts, uh, you replay conversations, things like that. Another one is hypervigilance, mistrust of others or institutions. So hypervigilance is more of uh, you're overly um, you're overly involved or overly focused on either other relationships where you want to make sure that you're not doing anything to not people please them. And maybe that's not the best word to use, but hypervigilance, like being hyperly aware of your actions and what you do and how you act and interact and act in relationships. Worrying about, did I do this right? Did I do that right? That's hypervigilance in this context, right? Um, Emotional regulation issues, shame, self-blame. And again, I also said disassociation. Relationship difficulty. So inability to trust in future relationships, repeatedly entering relationships with betrayal patterns. So um, getting into these relationships that are karmic relationships, that are also toxic, and repeating that same cycle all over again, um, and getting caught up in those betrayal patterns, right? So obviously the goal with that is to become aware of those patterns and to break those patterns, right? Elevate and step out of those kind of relationships, identify what those relationships are and step out of them and heal from those relationships. Physical symptoms include chronic fatigue, somatic complaints, and increased stress. So again, why is this so hard to heal? The trusted bond from a caregiver, a partner, or an institution is corrupted. That core attachment that you had, and that again, and to the level of survival, right? In your whole, again, your whole relationship is rooted in that, right? That becomes violated, right? Also, too, another complication around it is betrayal blindness, right? The mind may suppress or deny the trauma to maintain attachment and survival, right? So this is a classic one that I see. Um, and I also experienced this for myself as well. Like always, another part of betrayal blindness is only seeing the good, right? And focusing on the good times and neglecting the bad times, the things that happened, the actual betrayal, right? The things that actually happened, the reality of the situation and what was said and what was done, right? And only looking at it through rose-colored glasses, right? That's essentially betrayal blindness, right? Um, so also another reason why this is so hard to heal is because of compounded trauma. So we have a lot of times this happens in patterns, right? There's multiple betrayals that happen at the same time. So there could be a chain of betrayals, right? That's why these patterns repeat themselves, right? So multiple betrayals worsen the outcomes, especially when the perpetrator is really, really close. So if you have a chain of betrayals, say with family, say with a job, say with a partner, right? It all compounds, right? It makes it more complex. So let's talk about some ways to get some help around this and some therapeutic strategies and coping mechanisms. The first thing to do is acknowledge the betrayal, right? First of all, you got to acknowledge it before you can heal from it. So give it a name. Saying, I was betrayed by someone I trusted is the first step. Build safety in self and in system. So again, ground yourself, build safety around yourself. That might be obviously getting out of that situation, getting out of Dodge, getting out of the geographical location, right? Not surrounding yourself with the around those people, and kind of framing it in a way of, I like this phrase, rejection is God's protection, right? I like that. Um, and also surround yourself with new people, people that are not toxic, people that love you for who you are, right? People that respect you for who you are, people that are your true friends, right? People that truly love and care about you, that are authentic and not fake, right? And cutting those people out of your life that do not serve you, right? That are toxic, right? And moving forward. That's the start, right? So we also want to establish boundaries, no contact, surrounding yourself with safe people in a safe environment. If it's work, you want to do the same thing. You want to have a healthy work environment. Be aware of boundaries at work, right? What you share at work, right? Um, Things like that. You also want to explore the attachment dynamic, right? So obviously codependent and being in and having that unhealthy attachment to somebody is not good. Codependency is not helpful, right? It's not healthy. Um, Attachment very much resembles survival, right? And usually stems back to earlier trauma, childhood trauma. Use trauma-informed therapies like EMDR. That's a mode of therapy that I do a lot of in my practice. Um, Eye movement desensitization and reprocessing, a very, very powerful modality. Somatic experiencing, IFS, internal family systems, um, to process disassociation and attachment wounds, to heal that trauma, right? And to redevelop trust not only in yourself but everyone else. Um, Building trust with others, um, doing self-regulation and somatic work, grounding, doing breath work, body awareness to reduce hyperarousal and disassociation. uh, Reconstruction of your meaning and identity. So one thing also I found with betrayal trauma and again being codependent in a codependent relationship is that I lost my sense of self, right? Which is very, very common in other clients that I work with as well, is that you lose your sense of self. So it's finding who you are, right? For me, it was David finding who David truly was again, right? And finding David and who David was all about and what made David tick, right? And once you step out of it, you realize how, wow, I did lose myself. I lost who I was. I lost my identity. I had my identity within the other person, which of course is unhealthy. Uh, so question is, who am I now beyond the betrayal? Reconnect with your values, like I said, your self-worth, your autonomy, your independence, being okay with being by yourself and healing and allowing yourself to heal. Um, and this is also another piece too. Decide whether the relationship can be repaired or must be ended. Healing can occur in both, right? So again, I don't want to make this all out that you have to end the relationship. Sometimes, sometimes maybe there's some betrayal that's not to the magnitude of of ending the relationship. Sometimes it may be mendable, and I want to acknowledge that, right? So that is for you to decide. That is, you have your own free will, right? You know what toxic is. You know, sometimes the damage is so far done, there's no coming back from it, right? Sometimes you can come back from it, and you need to decide whether it's worth putting the time and effort into or not. The other thing is getting community and peer support. So groups, therapy, support groups, group therapy, church groups, other therapy groups who have experienced betrayal trauma reduce isolation and shame. So finding people, in a nutshell, finding people that can identify with what you've gone through, and you're able to relate to that, and you all heal together, right? Um, it's a wonderful thing because, again, you're all able to understand and acknowledge one another and help each other heal and lift each other up. So, some other tips are for daily coping: journal the felt experience, right? When you remember the betrayal, remember the physical sensations, the emotions, the thoughts, and name them, right? Practice a daily safe place, visualization. Imagine yourself with a calm, protective environment. Meditation, right? Again, choose one relational check-in a week. Did I feel safe this week? What boundaries did I honor, right? How do my relationships feel, right? Do they feel healthy? Do they feel icky, right? Um, Staying grounded in that. So also some CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy techniques. Replace with why did this happen to me with what is this showing me about how I want to live now, right? Was this relationship healthy for me? And be honest with yourself and be honest with yourself and answer that question. No, this relationship was not healthy for me. I lost my sense of self. I lost my dignity and respect, right? Celebrate trust wins. I voiced my truth today. I sat with discomfort instead of numbing, right? Just to name a few. So, folks, this is just the beginning in regards to this. I wanted to give you all an overview around this and just kind of give you something to get your feet wet. So, my goal is that I'm going to do some more videos around this, and I do welcome your comments around this. Uh, so, this is going to help steer what kind of videos I do around this subject, right? So, I do welcome comments in the comment section. Please look in the information box below and you'll see my contact information on there. You can reach out to me via email, by phone, text message, Instagram, Facebook, all those modalities. You can reach out to me on there. I welcome your feedback. I welcome your ideas. I welcome your input on uh, rounding out this series on betrayal trauma. And again, we may go off into other directions here with, again, more usually betrayal trauma. There's emotional abuse that kind of goes along with that too. Narcissistic abuse, they got kind of all overlap with one another. So we may venture off into some of those areas as well. But I want to thank you all. For checking in today and hope that helps. So thank you for being brave enough to watch this and consider your pain and compassion. Betrayal trauma isn't just heartbreak, folks. This is legit. It's a deep wound to trust, identify, and safety. Healing doesn't mean forgetting or returning to what was broken. It means building a new foundation, one of honesty, connection, autonomy, and self-worth. So if this video resonated with you, please like, subscribe, and share it with someone who may benefit from it. Like I said, drop a comment, reach out to me. You can reach out to my on my website and see what kind of work I do. And so where healing, presence, and connection become possible, you shall all go. So I thank you all. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you on the next video.